Hi, and welcome to the lesson on multiplying and dividing integers. Let's get started. All right, so here's the worksheet we'll be working off of, and we are going to talk about the rules that we need to follow when we multiply or divide integers. The rules are the same for multiplication and division. Doesn't matter which one you're doing, rules are the same. So let's start, and let's focus in a little bit on the rules. Okay. Here's all the rules for positives. Let's focus on that first, okay? So let's first look at, let's see, these ones on top here. Positive times a positive equals a positive. Positive divided by a positive equals a positive. Or positive divided by positive in a fraction format also is a positive. Next, focus on the positive times a negative. Positive times a negative equals a negative. Positive divided by a negative also equals a negative. Or if you write it in fraction form, positive divided by a negative equals a negative. Okay, moving on to the next. So, sorry, let me just get that adjusted for you. All right. Negative times a positive equals a negative. Negative divided by a positive also equals a negative. Fraction format, negative divided by a positive equals a negative. And lastly, negative times a negative equals a positive. Negative divided by a negative equals a positive, or fraction format, a negative over a negative. A negative divided by another negative is going to be a positive. So now, moving on. This is a fun picture to memorize. Let me show you how it works. Here's what we do. So, it looks kind of like, a little triangle. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to think of a math problem that you might have. So maybe you have a positive number times a negative number. The answer to that is going to be a negative number. Okay, so let's try it again. Maybe I have a negative number and times a negative number. The answer is going to be a positive number. Okay, I have the second one here. A negative number times a positive number. The answer is going to be this negative there. So you can use this little triangle to help you. Positive sign goes on top, two negatives go on the bottom. And this is something that you can use to help you memorize. Something else that you can use to help you memorize is just the basic, wow, sorry, give me a second. All right, let's continue on. Here's our next portion of our worksheet. So if I have the same signs, if the two numbers have the same signs, you're going to get a positive answer. If the two numbers have different signs, you're going to get a negative answer. This is also another way, another technique that you can use to memorize the rules. So let's start and let's practice. All right, number one. Negative 6 times a positive 3. Here, we can use this to help us. Different signs. It's going to be a negative answer. Look, it's a negative 6 and a positive. Negative times a positive is a negative 18. Moving on to number 2. Negative 4 times negative 2. They have the same signs. So it's going to be a positive answer. Positive 8. Good. Number 3. A positive 3 times a negative 4. Parentheses means multiplication. So this is going to be a positive times a negative. That means they have different signs. It's a negative answer. Negative 12. Number 4. A negative 7 times a negative 5. They're both negative. Negative times a negative is a positive. 35. Number 5, we've got a fraction. Okay, so it's a negative times a positive. Negative 1/2 times positive 1/3. Negative times a positive is going to be a negative answer. Now we just need to do the math. A little refresher on fractions. You multiply straight across. So on the numerator, 1 times 1. The denominator, 2 times 3. Negative 1/6 is your answer. Great, number 6. Okay, so what I did here is I gave you a fraction and then I gave you a whole number. I want you to make that whole number into fraction form. We put a 1 underneath any number if we want to make it into fraction form. So right now we have a positive times a negative. A positive times a negative equals a negative. And then let's multiply the numerator straight across. Let's multiply the denominator straight across. 1 times 3 over 6 times 1. Okay, we need to reduce this fraction. Negative 3/6. Negative 3/6 becomes negative 1/2. Perfect. Number 7, division problems. Same rules apply. Different signs, negative answer. Same signs, positive answer. Number 7, 8 divided by negative 4. Negative 2. So it's how many times does 4 go into 8? It goes in twice. Negative 36 divided by negative 9 for number 8. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and it goes in 4 times. Number 9. A negative 20 divided by a negative 4. Negative divided by a negative. Fraction form, but it's still the same. Positive 5. Okay, number 10. Positive 16 divided by positive 4. This is just a straightforward positive, positive. So my answer is going to be positive. Number 11. 6 divided by negative 3. 6 divided by negative 3 is a negative answer, and it's 2. 3 goes into 6 twice. Number 12. Decimals. All right. So here's how it would be written if you were to write it in actual division format. Okay. Now when we divide decimals, we want to move any decimals over as far as we can to the right. So we look at the number that's on the outside, and we are going to move this over 1 space. So since I moved this over 1 space, I'm going to move this decimal inside over 1 space. So my real math problem right now is 3 goes into 18. Well, 3 goes into 18, we know that. It goes in 6 times. So my answer to this math problem is 6, but now is it positive or negative? Let's look back. A negative divided by a positive. Signs are different. Negative answer. There we go. Let's get started on the classwork. Here's our worksheet for practice. Go ahead and press pause so that you can start working on these on your own. Good luck. Thanks very much. See you again.